Hey everyone! So, there's this wild tale about a city that's been underwater up in the northeast of Alexandria for over 1,000 years. Pretty crazy, right? The story goes that this place, called Heracleion, or Thones, was thriving around 2,000 years ago before it mysteriously vanished along with all its treasures. It used to be the big gateway for ancient Egypt into the Mediterranean and one of the hottest ports back in the day. Before Alexander the Great even rolled up and built Alexandria, this area was packed with islands. But here's where it gets weird. Those islands just disappeared without a trace when that Egyptian city sank beneath the waves. We've got some old texts mentioning them, but no solid proof they actually existed. I mean, could they really just be legends? Imagine if there's an epic hidden city only a few kilometers off Alexandria's coast that's been chilling underwater for ages. Oh. And sorry I've been MIA lately, I was feeling pretty wiped out. If you're new here, make sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. Missed you guys. The hero of the search for the lost Egyptian city is the French scientist Franck Goddio. Scientists consider him the leader of modern marine archaeology, although he has almost never studied archaeology or had anything to do with the marine world. He is originally a specialist in statistics and mathematics, but he decided to use these skills in an amazing way in his mission to search for the sunken city, if it exists. Goddio had a great passion for archaeology and a love for the world of the deep sea. In the 80s, he decided to leave his job as an economic and financial consultant and devote his life to underwater archaeology. Indeed, he achieved great accomplishments and discovered the wreckage of a number of ancient ships, such as the Spanish warship San Diego, which sank in 1600 AD. In the early 90s, Goddio heard about a mysterious legend related to ancient texts that mentioned the name of a city that existed in the Nile Delta region. Today it is Abu Qir Bay, but there was no evidence of its existence other than these texts and the claim of a British pilot in the 40s that he saw strange things underwater that resembled archaeology, but no one cared to verify his words. Despite all the doubts and the difficulty of believing that an entire city disappeared without a trace, the Frenchman liked the idea and decided to embark on a new adventure at the beginning of 1996 to search for the truth about the lost Egyptian city. The first and most important question that Goddio had to answer was, where could this city be? The journey to search for the place was very complicated for him because he did not have many sources to rely on. Most archaeologists did not know anything clear about the Egyptian city. Talk about it was just whispers and rumors, and without any evidence they made it seem like a legendary city like Atlantis. If Atlantis has texts, research, and theories talking about it, the matter is different for Egyptian Atlantis, as almost no one knows anything about it. All he had were a few ancient texts that provided simple hints, but without clear details. The Greek historian Herodotus wrote in the 5th century BC about a huge temple built in the place where the legendary hero Hercules first landed in Egypt. He also mentioned that Helen, the most beautiful woman on earth, hid with her lover Paris there, and in the events that led to the Trojan War. After about 400 years, the historian and geographer Strabo described a city called Suns, and mentioned with it the name Heracleion, and determined its location on the southern branch, meaning the Rosetta branch today. After that, the name of the city appeared again in a text by the writer Lodorus the Sicilian, around 60 to 30 BC, and after that period there is no news about Suns or Suns, as if they were erased from existence. In short, all we have are a few texts and scattered words about two cities only. Are these texts real or just stories like the story of Plato and Atlantis? After spending a long time studying historical sources, Goddio decided to form a research team and go to Egypt. He asked the authorities there for a permit for an exploratory mission near the Alexandrian coast in Abu Qir Bay. Although people considered him a man of sports and statistics, not an archaeologist, Goddio focused on his strength and the view of the issue as if it were a mathematical equation. Thanks to his enthusiasm and passion for the idea, he began to work in a thoughtful manner and formed a high-level team consisting of international scientists in archaeology, history, geology, and geophysics, as well as a number of researchers specializing in Egyptology, in addition to the professional diving stars who were with them. That is why he was able to gain the trust of the authorities and obtain the permit for exploration. But despite all the preparations they made before the mission, the size of the bay shocked him greatly. The team could not decide where to start, and in the end, they settled on a large area of about 150 square kilometers. The problem is that all initial attempts to find any evidence of the city failed due to water pollution, river mud, and difficulty of visibility, all factors that made the task more difficult, even with the use of technological survey techniques available at the time. It was at this time that Gaudio was working to find a new technology that would make his task easier and provide him with more accurate data about the area he was searching. He counted his journey and made an agreement with the French Alternative and Atomic Energy Commission to think about developing a nuclear magnetic resonance device that measures the Earth's magnetic field and provides an accurate map of the seabed and anything that might be buried there. After 4 years of searching, excavating, and mapping the area, the data began to emerge and reveal the existence of strange sites. From here, the search for the Egyptian Atlantis began to take a completely different turn. In the first year of the new millennium, 6.5 kilometers from the coast of Alexandria and 10 meters below the surface of the water, the diving team found huge pieces of limestone arranged next to each other in a way that raised suspicions that they were part of the walls of the lost city. Based on the measurements of the devices they used and the data they obtained, the surprise was that they discovered a stone wall extending for a distance of 150 meters in the south and another parallel wall in the north. But the adventure did not stop there. While continuing their discoveries on the walls, they came across an archaeological monument resembling a sarcophagus, a hollow stone block containing the most important statues of the sacrificial chamber of the gods in the city's main temple. The inscriptions confirmed that the statue was that of King Amun. In addition, they found the remains of the temple of Amun and his son, Khonsu, the Egyptian moon god. All this is not all, because they also found a large number of giant statues, some of which were separated but in excellent condition. Among them was a statue made of red granite of the god who protected the Nile River and the god responsible for fertility in ancient Egypt, and statues of the kings of the Ptolemaic era that were about 5 meters tall.
A golden memorial plaque was also found engraved in Greek, indicating the establishment of a memorial to the legendary hero Hercules in the city. The city had religious importance for the Egyptians and Greeks. This is clear from the discovered remains of several temples that included altars where travelers used to offer gifts and offerings. The religious importance of the city was no less than its commercial importance. Researchers confirmed through the discoveries that the city's port contained a huge number of basins and its importance as an international commercial center in the region. Researchers discovered hundreds of ancient anchors, in addition to more than 60 shipwrecks dating back to the period between the 6th and 2nd centuries BC. All of this was a clear testimony to the intensity of maritime activity in Heracleion. The mission's discoveries included a large number of coins, jewelry, cups, small statues, coffins, and ceramic vessels, some of which had hieroglyphic writings and others with Greek writings, indicating the extent of the cohesion of the two civilizations with each other and the role of the city in bringing them together. The diving team used suction devices to extract mud and sand from the sites where signs of any antiquities appeared, and then they began to dig huge squares around each object they squeezed on. The small antiquities were lifted in a net or plastic basket or something similar to a balloon, and the huge antiquities were pulled by cranes after they were fully secured. Up until here, Fidel and his research team were convinced that they were about to discover two cities, not one city, which are the city of Heracleion and the city of Thonis. However, one of the most important discoveries of the mission provided a different and surprising answer to them and to the whole world. One day, the divers found a huge black limestone stone, and from the first glance that pulled it onto the ship, It was clear that the stone was a memorial plaque preserved in excellent condition and had almost no fractures. In a short period, the symbols were translated. The hieroglyphics were engraved on the tablet, and here was the surprise. The translation was for a text imposing a 10% tax on the goods of foreign ships that wanted to offer their products in the Egyptian market in the city, but the important thing in the text was the reference to the city's location and its name. Part of the text was translated to the following: "The pharaoh ordered this tablet to be placed in Thonis." Here, the research team confirmed that Heracleion and Thonis are one thing. Thonis was the name known to the city among the Egyptians, while the Greeks called it Heracleion.
So, the research team we've got here started piecing together what the city looked like by mapping out its borders. They found this cool network of canals wrapping around not just the city, but also nearby islands. If you want to get a sense of how big this ancient Egyptian city was, check out what Frank Gaudio said. He compared it to Pompeii. Even though Pompeii is pretty small and has been getting dug up since the 1800s, and still isn't done, Heracleion spanned an area about 3 times larger. From all the cool stuff they dug up, researchers figured that Heracleion popped up in the 8th century BC and faced some crazy natural disasters over time. Think earthquakes, tsunamis, landslides, and eventually sank into the sea by around the 8th century AD. After Alexandria came on strong as one of the world's biggest ports, interest in Heracleion kind of faded away. The waves washed over it and left behind nothing but memories buried deep under history. While it's true that the city has been gently cradled by water, this extraordinary phenomenon has actually helped preserve its enchanting landmarks in stunning condition. After being tucked away for over 1,000 years, this hidden gem is now delightfully resurfacing to transform ancient legends into vibrant reality. It serves as a magnificent portal to the rich history of Egyptian civilization, igniting our passion to uncover even more about its splendor and legacy. To everyone who has embarked on this thrilling journey, what you've discovered here is truly special and beautiful. Just like those who came before you, your adventure might lead you to astonishing revelations. And don't forget, if there's an episode or topic you're eager for us to explore next, we'd love for you to share your suggestions in the comments below. Sending all my love your way.